Dylan Stewart might end up being the top edge in this year's draft class. He's got stiff competition with Colin Simmons, but Dylan Stewart has a lot to offer. Former five-star recruit, 19th overall in the nation, second edge rusher in that class, commits to South Carolina and come out the gates in his freshman season just on a tear. 6.5 sacks, 10.5 tackles for loss, 17 solo tackles. He follows it up the next season with a little bit of some regression, but there is a bit of a caveat there. The dude had a back injury. Dude had injuries all year long, but he still put together a pretty productive season. 4 sacks, 11.5 tackles for loss, 31 total tackles. I when I watched Dylan Stewart, I thought there was going to be a pretty big gap between him and Colin Simmons. And while I still think there is a bit of a gap, I do think Dylan Stewart is in a similar category to Colin Simmons. I think Dylan Stewart offers size, length, athleticism, real bend around the corner. But a lot of Dylan Stewart right now is just kind of theoretical, right? He needs to put on a little bit more weight. He needs to be able to handle himself in the run game a bit more. He needs to use that long, wiry build that he has to his advantage a little bit more. But there's reps out there that nobody in this class can do from Dylan Stewart. Not even Colin Simmons. Simmons, 6'3", long arms, about 245, 250. He doesn't have the same size. He's about 2 inches shorter. And some of the dominant plays that you see Dylan Stewart make, Simmons has some of those on tape. I think Stewart's highs are maybe a little higher than Simmons, but the lows are also very low as well because he's still a ways away, in my opinion. I think if you're going to draft Dylan Stewart, you got to be okay with the fact that he's not a finished product, and he probably needs a year or two to continue to get better and really fill out his frame and develop. But a lot of the stuff that are concerning are fixable, right? In terms of some of the pros, elite first step explosiveness, he times things up very well. Good bend around the corner. I mean, we're talking like legitimately elite bend around the corner. Long, wiry arms, multiple pass rush counters and go-to moves. Could still add a bit more nuance to those moves, but I think he's got plenty of moves he can get to. A combination of length, speed, and size. A high-end athletic profile. And I think he's getting better and better. But had the injury last year. Can he stay healthy for a full season? I think he probably needs to pack on 10 to 15 pounds of weight and muscle to his frame. We'll see what he looks like this year for South Carolina. I wouldn't be surprised. He's listed at 245. I wouldn't be surprised if he was more at like 250 at this point, but hopefully he can continue to get bigger and bigger and stronger and still have that athleticism to pair with it. Needs to get more counters to his repertoire, and he has to be better against the run. South Carolina would take him out on rundowns, maybe because they wanted to keep him clean for passing situations, but you got to be a 3-down player if you want to make it into the top 10. Although pass rush is more what they want, but still, if you want to beat Colin Simmons for edge one, you got to be able to handle yourself against the run because Colin is a really good run defender. So that is Dylan Stewart. Again, 6'5", 245. You can make some comparisons to Brian Burns. That's what I compare him to. But I'm going to hand this over to B-Ross. B-Ross, Dylan Stewart, he is our second-ranked edge rusher on 1st and 10 inside our top 10. Where are you at with Dylan Stewart? What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, he was frustrating to watch because, to your point, his highs were impressive. He can bend, and he's explosive. Like, he has all the traits of a really good pass rusher. But with that are the lows that come with a lackadaisical run defender. And then, like, when he went against competent tackles, he struggled a little bit just because those guys might be bigger, longer, stronger, and he struggled. But you talk about, like, to your point, I love the fact that he can turn his ear to the ground and bend the corner. Like, it's impressive watching him rush off the edge. Um, he's to your point, he's one of those guys where he's nowhere near a finished product. So teams are going to have to be, to me, very patient in his development because if you rush him out there because he's a high pick, I think you hurt him more than you help him. He's going to need like guys in the room with him to teach him how to do the nuanced things that you're talking about in terms of having his hands and feet kind of line up to rush the passer. But he is so impressive to watch. Like, I'm talking about explosive off the ball. His first step, him and Colin Simmons are neck and neck for just just their get off. The difference is his get off in the run game is null and void. You don't see the same guy that you see when he's rushing the passer. Like, he looks like a kid on Christmas when he's rushing the passer, and then he looks like a kid on Christmas who got a lump of coal on in the run game. Like to me, it's just a drastic difference. But that being said, he has the tools to be a lot better. But it starts with his ability to stay healthy, stay available, and then he has to show up in big moments for that defense. Like he has to be the stud they need him to be. Um, and to me, that's what really separates him and Simmons. The fact that when Colin Simmons needed to be the best player on the football field, he became the best. It was obvious. Like we're Texas fans, so we got to see this kid from freshman year to now. Like when he needed to be a 5-star and make a big play or stop the run, he did it. Dylan Stewart has that ability, but doesn't do that. And to me, that's the key difference in those guys. But super talented dude. You said Brian Burns. I actually don't hate that comparison. Like that's a really good comparison. I think Brian Burns is maybe a little bit coming out. He's probably around the same size.
Yeah, coming out of Florida State. I mean, very productive for multiple years there. But Brian Burns today is listed at, I'm trying to see his weight. He's listed at 6'5", 250. So about 5 pounds heavier. Granted, I mean, they probably haven't weighed this guy since 5 years ago at this point. So he's probably up to like 255, 260 or something like that. But in terms of like raw ability, the ability to turn the corner, long, lengthy, some freakish plays that nobody else can really do, I think Brian Burns kind of reminded me a little bit of him. I think Stewart is a potentially better talent. I think his upside might be more than Brian Burns. But if he becomes Brian Burns, Burns is an awesome player. Burns is what?
He's damn good.
Top 10 edge rusher in the NFL? Right.
Oh, for sure. For sure, he's a top 10 guy. To that point, Dylan Stewart has that in his body. It's just, to me, it's just a matter of like staying healthy and can he be a 3-down guy?
Yeah.
Because you aren't a top 15 pick and you're not a 3-down guy. You know what I mean? Like to warrant the money that edge rushers are getting and are going to keep getting, you got to be every down. Like, every down dominance, every down player. Just to me, it's more so just his run game stuff has to improve drastically in terms of setting the edge. Because the thing is, he can penetrate and make plays. But when you're talking about just doing your job, that's where he loses me in terms of just doing his job, setting the edge. He wants to pretend it's at the edge, hop inside, and the ball gets around him. Like just small nuance things in the running and pass game. And he fixed those. He has a chance to be a really good football player at the next level.
Yeah. Last point I'll make on Dylan, going back to Brian Burns here for a second. Brian Burns was somebody who he's never been an elite run defender, and he's had some lows at times, but he's always been a competent run defender. Like you don't have to take him out on rundowns. I think if you're Dylan Stewart, I don't know if you're ever going to be an elite run defender because you just don't have the size. Like 245, you can get moved around a little bit, and you want to just be more of that pass rush guy. But if you can just be competent as a run defender,
absolutely.
I mean, you'll have a conversation with Colin Simmons because Simmons is a bit more well-rounded right now, and Simmons is 6'3" instead of 6'5". He's not as tall and wiry. So Simmons is a bit more filled out, even though they're about the same weight. But yeah, I think Dylan Stewart's upside, I mean, he could be edge one in this class. He needs to put together a good year. I think Simmons might need to take a step back for that to happen, but it's a good conversation to be at because I think Colin Simmons, and it's not just me, I think everyone agrees, is probably going to be a top 5 pick. Dylan Stewart, though, has all the talent in the world. So that is Dylan Stewart. You guys let us know in the comment section below. Dylan Stewart, what are your thoughts on him? If you guys did enjoy this clip, make sure you guys go check out our live shows. We do them 3 times a week where you can see our full videos, not just these cut-ups, but full videos. Make sure you guys check them out. While you're there, hit that like and subscribe button. Have a good day.